Hey, a girl tested positive for a pork burrito.
Ah.
Oh, no.
Moving on with
How is that possible?
Shelby Houlihan. Suzanne sucks. Okay, you guys know.
Nope.
Slapshot.
I didn't know they stacked shit that high. I don't know why Houlihan brought me
No,
that.
this is a woman, and to be fair, she may not have taken steroids.
Okay.
Actually, because she's passed a polygraph, and she had a hair sample. But here's what's interesting here. I think all women should be allowed to take steroids, and all men for the Olympics, with the exception of 1 year, and I'll explain it to you. So she's the record holder in the 1,500 and 5,000 meter runs.
Okay.
And she's been banned for competition now for 4 years.
Wow.
After testing positive for the anabolic steroid known as nandrolone. And I think we have a clip. This is a big story right now, but there's a bigger story behind it with the International Olympic Committee.
On January 14th, 2021, I received an email from the Athletics Integrity Unit, the AIU, informing me a drug testing sample that I provided on December 15th,
Patch is
2020.
just a little too close to the SS logo for comfort.
Analytical
I know it's not on
finding
purpose.
For a steroid called nandrolone.
Got to stay away from lightning bolts.
I've since learned that it has been long understood by WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, that eating pork can lead to a false positive for nandrolone. We concluded that the most likely explanation was a burrito purchased and consumed approximately 10 hours before that drug test from an authentic Mexican food truck. I received the news that the Court of Arbitration did not accept my explanation of what had occurred and has subsequently banned me from the sport for 4 years.
Now, either her excuse is true or she just, in an incredibly racist way, threw Mexican food trucks under the bus. In an authentic Mexican food truck. What I mean is no white people were involved. And just
even
feel the
close.
need to clarify purchased. I purchased and consumed burrito. All right, we don't need to be so flowery with the language. You ate a burrito. And you think,
Yeah.
Same thing happened to Lance Armstrong.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I believe it
7
was
years in a row.
I believe
Weird.
it was 2 burritos, but now it's just 1.
Right.
Lost one.
Really more of a chimichanga.
Yeah.
Which is basically the same thing. So Sports Illustrated reported that she had a
Carnitas.
positive test of 5 nanograms per milliliter of nandrolone. Again, what she said is from a tainted pork burrito because pigs naturally have high levels. I didn't know this of
I didn't know that
nandrolone.
either, yeah.
By the way, hey, right now, you can share this if you're watching this live. Sharing is caring, right? So when you hit that share button, you can post it on Facebook, you can post it on Twitter because
All across the spectrum.
we don't get the YouTube browser search
No.
features.
You'll feel good about
It's always
yourself
fun.
for sharing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she did steroids or not, okay?
Right.
I don't care. I think that everyone should be allowed to do steroids and let the games begin. Why? Because that's what they're doing now.
Right.
So this is something that no one else has talked about. With the IOC is International Olympic Committee, right? Or is
Right.
it commission? Anyway.
Committee.
The IOC. Is it committee?
Yeah.
That's what Mitt
Well,
Romney.
gosh, now I say that. Now you got me confused.
She's in committee. She's taking testosterone and nandrolone in committee. Oh, yeah. She got a 3rd nipple and a 5th nut. Oh.
5th
Ooh, somebody had
that's
a
a lot.
pulled pork slider.
or dozens.
First, I get injected into the ass before I move my way through the bloodstream and grow an extra large love nut. Oh, congratulations, Bill. Now you're a ball. Oh, yeah. So she won't be allowed to compete because of a very small elevated level of nandrolone. And I understand that's a problem. Okay. But you know who will? Someone who's been using steroids their entire life. They're called testicles, Laurel Hubbard. Laurel Hubbard
It
is
produced them.
the male Olympic weightlifter from New Zealand.
Wow.
And I want to be really clear about this too. So the timeline here matters so that you understand. You know, I've said that really reprehensible behavior from people in the LGBTQ AIPs deemed acceptable just because people are afraid of the mob.
Yeah,
And Dave
you get a
Chappelle
pass.
echoed that. So Laurel Hubbard, a man, competed, was not very good as a male competitive lifter. Surprise.
Right.
Yeah.
Then decided that he would compete as a female. And won some notable tournaments like the Samoan or the Polynesian Games, I guess is a big deal. Something like New Zealand Nationals.
Samoan or Polynesian.
Then snapped a ligament in his in Z's arm. I'm not trying to do this here. I'm just trying to make sure I get through this. But I'm looking at the picture of the guy from the Goonies, and snapped it in her elbow. And we all know what happens there when you alter a man's hormone levels, lower their testosterone, increase their estrogen. Your ligaments become tissue paper. Now here's the deal: the IOC. When they say that men can compete with women, you would think, okay, there are certain metrics that have to be met. No, it's
Right.
one. It's only one. And you have to prove that your testosterone levels as a man competing against women, that they are as low as a female's testosterone levels for 1 year. That's it. That's the only requirement. 1 year. And it's actually not even as strict as that. Let me be clear about this, too. Laurel Hubbard retired after the injury.
Yeah.
Laurel Hubbard just came back out and said, I'm going to compete at the Olympics. Has not been in that testing pool for a year. This happened in the UFC when Brock Lesnar left the UFC, right?
Yeah.
There was a USADA testing pool.
Yeah.
Left, went to the WWE. They announced him coming back. And it was a big deal because the rules said you had to be in the drug testing pool for a year to make sure that you're not using steroids. And he came back larger and leaner than when he was UFC champ.
And older.
Surprise, yeah. Like The
wonder
Rock,
why.
all natural.
Yeah.
Beat the hell out of Mark Hunt, tested positive,
Easy.
and then left.
Yeah.
Oh, so Laurel Hubbard hasn't been in the testing pool for long enough. What would be my bet? Okay, hurt my ligaments, hurt my joints, get back on some gear, or really just allow my balls to work, then come in, for 6 months and beat the shit out of women. But it's worse than that. You think testosterone levels of a woman for 1 year.
Yeah.
Now, I've looked through the entire IOC guidelines.
I have a mirror.
Yeah, yes. It doesn't even talk.
No.
It's just a standard basic mirror.
It says really bad stuff, but it's just still me talking.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And the mirror just goes,
I don't know. A lot of people.
I can.
It goes equality.
do you want me to lie or are you going to shatter me?
We're all the same because I'm a woke mirror.
Right. So you'd think the testosterone levels of a female. Well, I looked through the IOC rules. Okay.
Yes.
Here's what it says. The testosterone, the serum level has to be below 10 nanomoles per liter. Okay. Now, here's the thing. People look at that and go, well, that's really low. If any of you out there, by the way, comment below. Any men or women who've had your testosterone tested.
Yeah.
Like for most men, the average level is between 300 and I think the upper end is like 1100. That's what they allow in the UFC. 250 depending, you know what I mean? Like they might treat you for low testosterone, but that's typically the measurement. Now, for women, that's about 15 to 46. And so you read this and you say, oh, so the international, they're actually being more harsh, right? Has to be as low as 10. But then you realize they're using some international conversion unit that is not what anyone uses on their blood test. They're saying it has to be below 10, I believe, nanomoles per liter.
Yep.
What you all use is nanoliters per deciliter.
Nanogram.
Nanograms per deciliter. Sorry, nanograms per deciliter. So I went to my doctor and converted the number that they are using. And that actually would number what you would see in a blood test, 285, I believe. I think the number 288.
288?
So in other words, Laurel Hubbard,
more?
to compete with women, only has to prove for a year, in this case maybe 6 months, that his testosterone level is only 10 times that of a natural female.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you. 10 times that of a natural female. So if a woman were actually on nandrolone, pork burrito, it still wouldn't even be discernible compared to the difference of 10 times the testosterone level of a woman. And that's just for that year. Outside of that, it's probably 20, 30 times the level.
All
That
the
is
years
insane.
leading up to
and by the way, yeah,
If all of you got on steroids right now, and I didn't, you still wouldn't enjoy the performance advantage over me that Laurel Hubbard is allowed to enjoy into competition for that year. And no one's talking about it.
I'm just trying to get off him, you know?
well, I think
Tired of hitting
look at these
homers.
guns.
the guy's in his mid 40s, I think. Or I'm sorry, the Hubbard is in their mid 40s. Gosh, it sucks.
Hubbard?
Right. That person is in
The
their
person.
mid 40s, right? And I think they were competing as a man until I think 2014, 2011, something
Yes.
like that. So I'll give them a decade, right? I'll give them a decade and say, you've been competing your entire life. This isn't like a 21-year-old person. This even though the argument could still be made. This is somebody who's been doing this their entire life. And this is specifically something where you're lifting heavy objects, which we know men do better on
Let
average.
me give you an exact comparison. This would be the
Oh,
equivalent.
you don't call women to help you move?
Not lately.
It depends if I really don't want to move. I just hire, was it chicks moving bricks, whatever it is. They have like hotties moving boxies. What is it?
Yeah,
They have all
I
those
don't
stupid
think
companies.
they move stuff.
Yeah,
I think they do
That's
other
a Shark
things.
Tank pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's your shattered glass table. Sorry about your couch.
Whoops. But we did wear low-cut clothing.
crystal elephant. What
Terrible.
gives? She dropped it in my indoor-outdoor pool.
Again.
This would be the exact, to give you an exact comparison, it would be the equivalent to a man being allowed to, in the Olympics, call it wrestling, call it weightlifting, take steroids his entire,
Beating
like
a
every
woman.
single steroid.
Right,
Take
yeah.
nandrolone, I don't know what the, nandrolone, whatever the other ones are, whatever they test
know.
positive for.
Whatever
But
we
all
call
of the
pork
above
burritos.
designer steroids and extra testosterone for 20 years, and then say, okay, but leading up to the Olympics, for 1 year, I'm only going to take a testosterone supplement that gives me 10 times the level of a normal man. That's what it is. And so I am saying that if the International Olympic Committee wants to be consistent with this, and you guys comment and let me know what you think, I think the only way to be consistent is to let every single competitor use steroids as much as they want outside of 1 year. And then they can use half a steroid.
Right. And the female lifter, I think another power lifter, has come out and said, this is just a joke. Like, this is absolutely a joke. This is not a sport that's fair anymore. So I think hopefully they will fix this, but I doubt it.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.